It's the final weekend of Women's National League action. It's a 3-horse race heading into the weekend. Shells on top, 57 points, ahead of their trip to Wexford, who are on 56 points, and then Athlone hoping for a draw there, and they're on 55 points. So delighted to say we're joined on the line by the Wexford manager Stephen Quinn ahead of their trip to their game against Shells, and the Athlone manager Tommy Hewitt ahead of their trip to Bowes. Morning, lads.
Morning, Adrian.
I hope I've captured that as succinctly as I possibly could. Short story, Stephen, for you to begin with. It's in your hands.
Yeah, look, it's if you told us at the start of the season what way the season would pan out with different things, that you had more as kind of a cup final in Ferry Carrick on the last day of the season, you would have took that. So that's what we have now at the moment. We have to go win the game. So that's where our preparations have been, and we're looking forward to Saturday. You've
been very close, obviously, over the last few years, but I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, that you've had it in your hands going into the last round of games.
No, like you even look back to last year, we actually, it's the same thing really. We played Shell's last game of the season and we had them in the cup final the week after, but we were knocked out probably 2 weeks before that. We lost to Galway, so it didn't really mean anything. It was 3-2 on the night. Shell's went 3-0 up and we kind of fought back a little bit just out of, I suppose, pride, but it was not. You had that feeling going to Tulka that the season was over. We're just kind of looking after for work for the cup final, and now looking, and Athlone beat us in a cup semi-final, so you don't have that cushion to fall back on now. So it's all or nothing on Saturday, and the league is massive for us, and a lot of girls have won this league and know that it brings Champions League football. So there's a lot of girls looking forward to this match, and it's going to be a really good game between two good teams.
Are you actually privately happy, Stephen, that a draw won't necessarily do, where it's like, no, just win the game?
Yeah, sometimes that can be, you can have that in the back of your mind, and even, I suppose, last weekend as well, like, if you come into the last two games, we needed 4 points. So we got a point last week against Peas, and when the game comes to the end and it's 3-3 and there's a couple of minutes left and you're thinking, do you go and push on to win it or do we just not lose it? So that is in your mind, but now that's gone out of your mind now going for Saturday when you know just 3 points is, so you're going to have to go after them, you're going to have to go and score goals, and you're going to have to try and be better in both boxes, defensively and attack, than Shells, which is no mean task.
Have you been driving that home this week about the nature of it being in your hands and the nature of needing the win?
Yeah, look, and I'm relatively new into the management. I suppose took over last year halfway through, and I've worked with Tom closely over the last 3 years, and it's a different kind of feeling going into the cup final. Is great, you know, that's there at the end of the season, but the league is a fair slog. It's 27 games, and we've ups, we've downs, we've players that are injured. Now we've 2 players, like Ellen Malloy got injured probably 3-4 weeks ago. We've Della Doherty that dislocated her knee on Saturday, so both of them are out this weekend, and it's just kind of like that kind of season where there's been ups and downs, and it's every team have it, so it's going to be tough. We're under no illusions, but everyone's really, really excited, and training this week was good apart from the monsoon on Tuesday night. We had a good training session last night. We're all ready to go for Saturday.
Yeah, well, Tommy on the other line is hoping that the two of you play out a neat draw and opens the door for him. Momentum, Tommy, is, very much, it's a big thing in sport and very much in your favour at the minute, because you've beaten Galway, Treaty United, Wexford, Shells the last 4 weeks running.
Yeah, look, it's a game that all we can do is concentrate and try and win our own game, and what'll be will be down in Wexford, and 2 superb teams going at it down there, and I'm predicting there will be a winner. So look, we, as Stephen said, alluded to there, we have the added bonus of a cup final to look forward to the week after, and for even Athlone to be at this stage of the season is phenomenal from our point of view. But to be up there with the likes of Wexford and Shelbourne coming into this stage of the season is just fantastic for us.
Will you talk to us a little bit about that, Tommy? Because I have watched some games on TG Carr over the last few weeks. One of them was the 2-0 win, Athlone's 2-0 win over Shells a few weeks back, and playing some really good football, doing it, looked really comfortable in that company for a team that didn't exist a few years ago, for a team that were 50 points off Shells last year. How's it all come together so quickly?
Yeah, I think a small bit of continuity and consistency within the group, and I said to myself last year after going to places like Wexford and losing 7-1, and did we want to be going around this season looking to to pick up them type of results? No, we didn't. So we got together as a group, we set goals and targets, and we've achieved most of them so far. And the girls have been fantastic, and we're a young side, and we look at Wexford the last number of years. I remember Kylie Murphy doing an interview saying that when they came into the league, they took some hammerings too, and look where they are now. And we aspire to be like a team like Wexford and Shelburne, and the girls they're solely driven, and they want to achieve at this level, and no bigger stage in the next 2 weeks.
It must feel, Tommy, like I know your own playing career obviously didn't materialise to the extent it might have because of injury and all that, and you've seen the highs and lows of the League of Ireland, but this must feel like, in terms of the women's game in Ireland, you're somewhere at the start of a revolution here collectively.
Yeah, look, it's a special time for women's football, obviously, with senior ladies qualifying for the World Cup. And as I said, our own league, since I've come into it the last 3 or 4 years, it's going from strength to strength. And I've seen a massive, massive improvement. I'm sure Stephen and the guys will echo that. And Leonard and coach and the players, the professionalism, even though they're not professional, by payment or anything like that, but by the way the players act professionally and the games. Any of my friends that go to games now, it's just fantastic that they wouldn't have went to a women's game 5 or 6 years ago. Now they just can't get enough of it. They're always wondering when is their next game, and they're travelling to away games. And that can only, be I suppose going forward, that can only stand to the game here in Ireland.
I think, Stephen, I think just that point as well Tommy makes, that Go United is taking over the running of the women's team next year, and I've seen from other clubs that it's almost like you get a bigger family, and everyone is now kind of under the same umbrella. But it also offers opportunities, we'll say, for the likes of, like, we've had Donna Reardon, who was the Go United manager coaching the women, Alan Murphy's. You get these people who kind of go between, and it offers coaching opportunities, and it's I imagine it's very exciting to be part of that, to see where it might go.
Yeah, definitely. Even 3 years ago when I came into this league and to now, the level has definitely increased, be it coaching, preparation, the amount of effort that goes into match days. And like Tommy said, these girls are not professional footballers, but everything structural clubs are trying to do is try and give them as close as possible to that. And be it nutritionists, S&C coaches, access to gyms, GPSs. So as much as we can, we're prepping these players. And then away from the pitch, because even with us, we train in Carlow and through the Thursday nights, and it's a bit of a travel for some players. So 2 other nights of the week, the girls are gymming and doing other programs as well. So taking a little bit off the road. The girls are probably going out of the 7 days, we're going 5 days at least, committed to this, and never any complaints, never anything. And that's hopefully. And I heard the conversation with Joey, and maybe in the line down, there's par contracts, maybe semi-pro contracts and stuff like that, but the girls deserve that. But at the moment, these girls are playing at the highest level and putting in a massive amount of work, and getting the rewards this time of season, especially when you're in contention for stuff. But like that, the managers you come across, everyone is just so, like how we always say, there's no secrets in football. So you have a chat with anyone really, and we're all like the managers together are really kind of, we chat to each other, not before matches, but after the matches like that. And it's great to see everyone progressing through, and there's some really good coaches and managers in this league now, and there's probably a lot more to come in now over the next couple of years.
Can I just get you on that? So you're referencing a really lovely interview Joey Malone did, and again, speaking about the connection, Joey Malone was the manager of Go United when we won essentially the only trophy we ever won worth talking about, which is the FAI Cup in 1991.
Former Athlone manager as well, Tommy will tell you there, yeah.
So you're going back 31 years. But just on that, this is something now I wasn't really aware of in terms of and again we can relate to this in the League of Ireland, but we're now, in terms of the men's game, we're now getting proper money for players, I would argue. This is something in terms of the semi-professional aspect of the game that could have massive benefits going forward if you get it right. Yeah,
look, you've said at the end of your question there, if we get it right, there's a lot to go in, there's a lot of stuff, it's to say that we should get the players on semi-pro contracts and that, it's just, you would have looked at Galway come out with a figure that they had the running costs for this year, and that's why they've maybe stepped back from it. And that's around most clubs. And you're talking about paying players again, you're adding another, probably doubling that. So not every club is not going to be able to do that. And then what'll happen is some clubs will have it and some clubs won't, like, and it'll become a monopoly with players and stuff, and that's just, we just don't want to happen, because
So do you essentially need FAI help then? Like, because Adrian and I speaking about Shamrock Rovers getting more for the point in the third tier of European combat than they will for winning the league. So there's a massive reward here, obviously. But I mean, let's be honest, it's very hard to fund wages at this level. So how does it work?
Yeah, look, there's funding's going to have to come from somewhere, because clubs were run by volunteers, and we sponsors, and you know yourself, if anyone's been involved as a volunteer and you're getting sponsorship in for whatever level of football it is, it's very tough. And players, like, we've Energia now come in, and the players don't pay for subs, which probably 3-4 years ago they would have to pay 400 or 500 euro to pay in this league. Like, so every year we're progressing, and girls are getting expenses now, and every year we're trying to progress, like, so it's just about the body of money that's going to be needed to really push on the game for every club. Because what you don't want to have, we have 10 clubs, maybe 11 next year, and then over the next 2 or 3 years clubs start dropping away, and then the league doesn't come as competitive as it is now, like. And I think everyone wants to be competitive, and I'm definitely all for it. The players definitely deserve to be paid for what they're doing and commitment. I just want to make sure that the structures, everything is in place, and like things have gone past before in different leagues and stuff, that you just don't want this to come in for a year or two and then it just stops, and then we take 10 steps backwards after taking 15 forward, like, over the last couple of years, like. So it's very important for me. That's my own personal opinion. It's not the opinion of Wexford or anything else. It's my personal opinion. I want to see the growth of the women's game in Ireland more than anyone, but I just want to make sure everything's put in place properly before we jump ahead with it. But like I said, the girls definitely deserve this.
How would you say, Tommy?
Yeah, I just like to echo what Stephen was saying there. Look, there's a lot of moving parts, obviously, that have to take place over the next couple of seasons. And we throw out the word, semi-professional very easy. And you see a lot of clubs, even the men's side of it, who struggled over the last number of years, when it comes down to paying money to players and contracts and that kind of stuff. But we definitely need to do something, fairly soon to stop our better players wanting to go to different leagues in different countries to become professional or semi-professional, and but that's the nature of football. It's the nature of sport, and the funding side of it is going to be very, very hard to come by. We all know what happened over the last number of years in terms of funding, from the FAI and Sports Ireland and this kind of stuff. So it's going to be very hard, and but the girls do definitely deserve, to be semi-professional and to get paid for what they're doing. But as Stephen said, it has to be right. That's the key. And again, that's my own opinion. And hopefully in the next number of years we'll see that coming on board.
It would help, Stephen. Obviously, one of the things that would help, certainly in the short term, like, obviously if players are going to be lost to other leagues, some sort of trickle down payment system for the likes of Rihanna Jarrett, obviously, that would have left from your own side. I know Ella Malloy obviously will get a lot of interest as well. As you said, she's out injured at the minute, but that might be I know it'll be a threat clearly to the foundation of the league, but if it is to happen, some sort of a trickle down payment system would help.
Yeah, definitely. Look, and if you're listening to, like, even you're probably looking back and the 7 players that did leave Shelbourne, like, they're all top players, like, and Peamount would have lost a couple of players, and other clubs would have lost 1, maybe 2, all really top players, like, and what you don't want to come to the case, like, a lot of times, even when the transfer window is open in England, and they can come in and just don't have conversations with the players without even talking to the club, and they could just get a phone call or a text and say that the players are gone, like. So you just don't want that to happen. I think then once that happens, and there's probably clubs are getting a little bit of compensation around it, it actually might keep the players within the league as well, because I don't think they're going over getting massive money either, like, but the lower to professional football, and probably facility wise and everything over there is probably a step, maybe 2 steps above what we have in Ireland here at the moment. And that's just the nature of most of them clubs being partnered in with men's clubs that are in first divisions or League Ones or Premier Division clubs, like. So they have the facilities and everything at their disposal, like. But like, so sometimes you look at maybe the level of football, like, can we aspire to get to that level of football, especially maybe the second tier in English football, and if we can play the players something amount and they can stay around locally, I think that will really help. But like that, you said, if there was some sort of compensation, but like that to be, the league has to go professional for that to happen, like. And it's just like Tommy said, it's a lot of moving parts, and you see now even the conversations that IRFU are having with the players trying to get professional, like, and you're seeing the amount of money they're offering and different things, like, and it's not going down really too well. Like, so, like, they're a massive organisation, and it's probably a smaller pool of players like that you're trying to. So
just
it's
briefly,
interesting to see how that comes about, like, and what comes of that as well going forward.
just briefly on that, Stephen. So, like, I've done work for the Greyhound Board and horse racing in Ireland in recent months, right? So I'm just put that out there. But, like, I speak to people in the gambling industry. Some betting shops say in Britain now, the percentage of money betting that shop on horse racing would be, say, 8 to 10%, right? So basically the betting on sport now is becoming more so football than horse racing. Yet, you know, you have the government money from the gambling industry, which is colossal, effectively in an anachronistic sense going to the two sports on which people used to bet but not on which they bet now. So what the lads are talking about here is, could you at least not get the government to start putting money into supporting clubs' academies and supporting, like, getting facilities and getting structures in place such that we can keep players and coaches in this country and build a product from within and reflect the fact that a lot of gambling money is coming from football now and it's not coming from the other sports. Because I think on an academy level, I've seen myself, you know, even in Longford the other night, to see the reception that the young kids got. I think it was the under 17s who won their tier 3 league, and they were paraded on the pitch. For Longford to run an academy is desperately tough, and then to run like the women's side of it as well. I think the government really needs to look at this and get a proper football industry in this country. We have the money, but we don't have what we could have.
Yeah, definitely. Like, my background would be coming from like a volunteer coach, and I would have worked with the association as a development officer, and then would have left that and managing Wexford Youths at the moment. Like, so I can see that point. Like, and a lot of times the money funnels up to the top part of the game, where a lot of times and we've made a massive effort in Wexford this year, and over the last 2 years we had an academy of 13s and 15s running in SCTU Carlow, and this year now we have an under 15s academy team that are actually going over to Celtic next week. We've created a partnership with Celtic, so they're going over training and playing over there. So it's something that we've really, if you talked about Wexford Youth before I came in here, there was probably only a 17s team and the 19s that are developing, and most clubs will have the 17s and 19s, but like that academy is very, very important. You're getting these girls in at 11, 12 in your 13s academy, and they're getting to know what Wexford Youths are about. They're getting a feel for it, and hopefully the next 5 or 6 years they're going to have a lot of players coming from the academy. Where at the moment in senior football, you're just trying to get players in. Like, the minute the season's over, everyone's going to be ringing around players trying to get them in, and be it Wexford Youth players, or we have to go out maybe try and get a couple of players, and that's just the nature at the moment. But you'd like to have that academy structure in each club, good investment there, good facilities, infrastructure, and then it's just every year it's just players coming through the system, and that will help a lot, I think, in the women's game as well here, both in the level we're playing at, but also in junior level and schoolboy and schoolgirl level.
Yeah, and certainly most speeches you hear the de facto Minister for Sport, Jack Chambers, speaking about, he often references their commitment to the now wrapped up 20 by 20 or 2020 movement, as he calls it, and it would be good to see him engage obviously with the topics that we're talking about here and with people in the WNL as well. Tommy, before we let you away, obviously the final weekend upcoming, the FAI Cup final after that, and given the conversation we've been having with you about the progression of Athlone over the last 12 months, like, is it important to get over the line in one of those, or do you just see it as stepping stones building for the future?
Obviously, look, when you're in any game you play, you want to win it, and I think it was Damien Duff that quoted there when they got to the final. He said that he never really thought about it. Now that they're in it, they want to win it, and we're no different, and we'd love to win it. If we don't win it, it's not going to be the end of the world, because I think a lot of people out there never expected us to get this far. So, and ourselves included, look, we look for, people ask you, yeah, you said you want a good cup run. What does that mean? Good cup run for us was getting to the semi-final, because we never reached the semi-final phase. Now we're in the final. No, the girls have been fantastic, and I think, you know, we'll reflect on the season. You know, obviously when the season is over, if we win it, fantastic. If we don't, it'll still be a very, very good season. And I think these girls, if the club can keep this bunch of players together, and as Stephen said, add a few more, well then, you know, these girls can achieve an awful lot over the next 3 or 4 years. You're not extending Duffer's comments to be a little old Athlone. Everybody hates us and we don't care. No. Because look, in fairness, Athlone are steeped in history and they are a big club. It's just, you know, the women's side of it has been just, it's relatively new, as we said. I always said 2.5 seasons because COVID was the first, you know, it was a short season, and what we've achieved is fantastic. And
I'd love to see you back on the men's level, Tommy. I'd love to see Athlone back in the old days, as good as you could be.
Yeah, look. I mean, I think it's 2013 when they got promoted under Roddy Collins that time, and we've struggled ever since. But in fairness to Dermot Lennon and Gordon Brett, they come in there about 3 or 4 months ago, and they steadied the ship, and they got some very good results. And I definitely would say next year, it's going to be a lot. They're going to be a lot more harder to beat and better to watch. And if the two guys are in place next year, we don't know. Nobody knows yet. But hopefully in the next 2 or 3 years, my own young fella, he's in the 11, and all he talks about is Athlone Town. So
Brilliant.
I want him to see the glory days.
Yeah, very good. Well, listen, whatever way the chips fall over the next couple of days, lads, thanks a million for jumping on us this morning, and best of luck.
No problem, guys. Thanks a million.
Thanks a lot. Tommy Hewitt, Athlone Town manager, and Stephen Quinn at Wexford Youths. And what an interesting couple of days ahead, and we'll have plenty more reaction to that as well next week.